Okay, let's do this. I want you to picture a scene. It's a Tuesday morning. Maybe you're having some coffee at the kitchen table. The house is quiet. You tear open that quarterly retirement statement. Or maybe you just, click the PDF on your phone.
Mm,
And what is the very first thing you see?
the pie chart.
You
It's inevitable.
The pie chart. It is the universal symbol of financial planning, isn't it?
Yeah.
You see a slice for large company stocks, a slice for small caps, maybe a sliver of international stuff.
And a big chunk for bonds. Yep.
We've been trained for decades to look at that circle and think, okay, look at all those colors. I'm diversified. I'm safe.
It's the standard operating procedure. It feels comfortable. It feels like you've got your bases covered.
But here's the provocation for today's deep dive, and it's a big one. What if that chart, which was absolutely perfect for building your wealth, is actually a dangerous tool for spending your wealth?
That is the million-dollar question. Literally. We spend 40 years climbing the mountain. That's the accumulation phase. And we just assume the gear that got us up is the same gear we need to get back down. Right. Okay. The descent, or, the distribution phase of retirement, it requires a completely different mindset. It's like trying to rappel down a cliff using hiking boots. It's just, you're in for a rough ride.
That is a stark image. Today, we are unpacking a really fascinating set of insights from the team at Confidence Financial Partners.
Right.
We've been combing through their educational materials, their philosophy on retirement, and specifically a strategy they call the three-basket approach.
And it's important to note when we're talking about this team, we're talking about certified financial planner professionals, fiduciaries.
Which is a key distinction.
It is. It means they're legally and ethically bound to put the client's interest first. And their philosophy really centers on this idea that allocation should be based on purpose, not just company size.
Okay, so let's start there. Let's talk about the old gear, the status quo.
Yeah.
The advisors at Confidence talk a lot about modern portfolio theory. I think most of us know the term, even if we don't know exactly what it is. It sounds modern.
It does sound cutting edge, but here's the kicker. Modern portfolio theory was developed in the 1950s.
The 1950s, so it's about as modern as a rotary phone.
Exactly, or a black and white TV. It's almost 70 years old. Now, the core idea was brilliant for its time. It's all about diversification to balance risk.
Spreading your money around.
You spread it across large companies, mid-sized companies, small ones, maybe international markets. The theory is that if one area is down, another might be up.
Right, so if the U.S. market takes a hit, maybe Europe is up. Yeah. Large cap zig, small cap zag, that kind of thing.
Precisely. And for a long time, that worked reasonably well. But the Confidence team points out this massive structural shift that happened right around the year 2000.
What changed?
The world shrank. Globalization, the internet, it all interconnected the financial markets in a way that, the creators of that theory back in the 50s could never have predicted.
So the markets became correlated. Is that the right word?
But that's the word, highly correlated.
Okay, so unpack that for someone who doesn't stare at stock tickers all day. What does high correlation actually look like?
It means that when real panic hits, everything moves in the same direction, and that direction is usually down. If the U.S. economy catches a cold, the Asian markets get the flu, and Europe gets pneumonia, the safety you thought you had in that pie chart, well, the advisors at Confidence say it creates a false sense of security.
So in a real crash like 2008 or the COVID dip, that pie chart doesn't really protect you.
It largely fails when you need it most, and this brings us to what they call the retirement danger zone.
Okay.
If you are relying on that 1950s pie chart and the market drops 30% across the board, and then you have to sell shares to pay for your groceries.
You're selling low. That's the cardinal sin of investing.
That's it. You are locking in losses. You're digging a hole.
Yeah.
And because you're withdrawing money, the portfolio has less capital to recover when the market finally bounces back. It's a death spiral for a portfolio.
That is the nightmare scenario. So if the pie chart is broken for retirees,
right,
what's the alternative? This must be where the three-basket approach comes in.
Exactly. The team at Confidence Financial Partners suggests a pivot. A total shift in thinking. Stop allocating based on the size of the company, large cap versus small cap.
And instead,
start allocating based on the purpose of the money.
What does this dollar need to do for me?
That's the question. They break the entire nest egg down into 3 distinct baskets. Each one has a specific job.
I like that. It feels actual. So let's walk through them. Basket number 1 is
safety.
Safety, or as they call it, sleep at night money. This is strictly for liquidity. One of the advisors, Chris Abeta, uses an analogy in the insights provided that really stuck with me. He says, Liquidity is like oxygen.
Liquidity is like oxygen. I love that. Explain it.
Think about it. When you have enough oxygen, do you walk around thinking, wow, this oxygen is
Wait,
great?
never. You just breathe. You just breathe. You don't think about it at all. But the second you run out, it is the only thing you can think about. Panic sets in.
That's a very visceral way to put it.
It's accurate, though. And in financial terms, having that dedicated safety basket lets you breathe during emergencies. If the furnace blows up, if the roof leaks, you have the cash. It's there.
So this is boring money. This isn't invested in anything risky.
Very boring. And that's the point. But the confidence team mentions it's not just for disasters, it's also for opportunities.
An opportunity. What do you mean?
Well, let's say a grandchild is getting married and you want to gift them a honeymoon. Or a once-in-a-lifetime trip comes up with friends.
Okay.
If all your money is tied up in the market and it happens to be down that month, you might feel like you can't afford it. You'd have to sell at a loss to go.
And nobody wants to do that.
Exactly. But if you have this safety basket, let's say it's a specific cash cushion, maybe $100,000, just as a hypothetical, you can say yes without stress. You don't disturb your long-term investments.
Okay, so basket one is safety. Oxygen, we're breathing easy. Let's move to basket two. This is income production.
Right. This is the engine room. This is where you do the math on your actual life. The confidence team breaks it down really simply. You look at your budget. What does it cost to be you? Let's say that number is $100,000 a year.
Okay, $100,000 lifestyle. Got it.
Then you look at your guaranteed income. Maybe Social Security brings in $50,000. You have a gap.
A $50,000 gap.
Right. Your nest egg, your life savings, has one primary job. Generate that missing 50 grand every single year, whether the market is up or down.
So basket two is designed specifically to fill that gap.
Yes, it's allocated to generate a reliable income stream. The goal here isn't wild growth, it's consistency. It's to protect your standard of living.
So it's not trying to be the next hot stock. Its job is just to pay the light bill.
Pay the light bill and the grocery bill. It's the workhorse.
Which leaves us with basket three.
Yep.
If safety is covered and income is covered, what's left?
Growth. And the confidence team calls this distant money.
Distant money. I like that phrasing. It implies a time frame.
It does. This is capital you do not need tomorrow, you don't need it next year, or even for the next 3, 4, 5 years. Because baskets 1 and 2 have handled your immediate needs, you can afford to take some risk with basket 3.
I have to play devil's advocate here. I feel like a lot of retirees think, I've made my money, I'm done, I don't want any risk. Why do we still need a growth basket?
That's a super common instinct. I've won the game, why keep playing? But the advisors at Confidence point out 2 massive risks that the all-safe approach ignores. First, longevity. Retirement can be 20, 30 years.
That's a long time.
It is. And the second risk is inflation, the silent killer.
Right.
If you just bury your money in the backyard, in 20 years it will have lost half its purchasing power. You need growth just to keep up.
Right. And there are other big expenses way down the road, too.
Absolutely. Long-term care, which is getting incredibly expensive. Or this could be the money you leave as a legacy. Because it has that long time horizon, it can weather the market's ups and downs. If it crashes, you don't panic because you aren't touching this basket for a decade.
See, this is where it gets really interesting for me. We've been talking about math and allocations, but it feels like this isn't just a financial strategy, it's a psychological one.
It is 100% behavioral. We like to think we're rational, but when it comes to our money, we're emotional. Fear takes over. And the team at Confidence gives a perfect example of this. They tell a story about a cruise scenario.
I read this one. It's a great litmus test. Lay it out for us.
Okay, so you're a retiree. You book a big, beautiful cruise 9 months from now. You're excited. Trip of a lifetime.
Tickets bought. Mentally packing your bags.
But 6 months later, so 3 months before you leave, the stock market crashes. A big one. The news is screaming, recession.
Panic time.
For the traditional pie chart investor, yes. You open your statement, you see your total balance is just cratered. The fear hits. You think, I'm losing money. I can't afford this.
So you cancel the cruise.
You cancel the cruise. You shrink your lifestyle out of fear. But now, let's rewind. Let's look at the 3-basket investor. The market crashes. Sure, basket 3, the growth basket, is down. But basket 1 and 2?
They were insulated, not exposed to that volatility.
Exactly. So the advisor asks, where's the money for the cruise coming from?
It's coming from the income or safety basket.
And is that money still there?
Yes. It hasn't moved.
So does that retiree cancel the cruise?
No. They go on the cruise.
They go on the cruise, they enjoy their pina coladas, they know basket 3 is down, but they also know it's distant money. It has time to recover before they'll ever need it.
That is such a massive shift.
Right.
It's the difference between being a victim of the market and being prepared for it.
And that's the key takeaway from the confidence team here. The strategy is designed to prevent fear from dictating your lifestyle. It stops you from making a permanent mistake because of a temporary emotion.
It connects to something else I saw in their materials. They talk about the knowing-doing gap.
Yes, this is a really empathetic point they make. They acknowledge that most people are smart, they're successful, but they just don't have a process for these specific retirement decisions.
Because they've never done it before.
Exactly. As they put it, you've never retired before. It's new territory. You can be a brilliant surgeon, but distribution planning is a totally different skill set.
It's not an intelligence issue, it's an experience issue.
Precisely. The advisors at Confidence see this all the time. They tell a story about a client, a gentleman who was convinced he needed to work 4 more years.
Oh, I remember this. His wife was really worried about his health, right?
She was. She said his job was toxic, affecting his blood pressure. She honestly didn't think he could physically handle it. They came in asking, can we make this work?
That's a heavy question. And what happened?
The team ran the analysis, they applied this 3-basket framework, they organized everything by purpose, and they sat the couple down and said, you don't need to work 4 more years, you can retire in 4 months.
Wow. 4 months. That is life-changing.
It is. The team described seeing the weight just physically lift off their shoulders. They went from can we to we can. That's the power of closing that gap. It's not just about numbers, it's about permission to live your life.
And it seems like that holistic view is really central to their philosophy. It's not just picking stocks. I noticed they talk about the confidence retirement pathway.
Right. They view retirement as having 5 essential worlds. We've talked a lot about the income and investment worlds, but they also focus heavily on tax planning, healthcare, and estate planning.
And those other worlds are just as dangerous if you ignore them.
Exactly. A medical crisis can drain basket 1 in a heartbeat. Poor tax planning can slash your basket 2 income. It's all connected.
And that's why they emphasize a collaborative team approach with different kinds of expertise.
Yes, the confidence team mentions the advisors hold various designations, CFP, RICP, and so on, and they work together. It's a team-based standard of care.
So when we step back, this whole 3-basket approach, it really boils down to clarity.
Clarity and confidence. It's about knowing exactly which dollar is paying for groceries next week and which dollar is for 10 years from now. When you separate those duties, you stop asking your money to do 2 contradictory things at once.
Contradictory.
Yeah. You can't ask money to be perfectly safe and grow aggressively at the same time.
It's like trying to sprint a marathon. You can't do both.
Perfect analogy. You let the sprinter sprint, that's your growth basket,
Yeah.
and you let the steady walker handle the distance, that's your income basket.
I love that. So for everyone listening, go back to that kitchen table. Think about that pie chart you get. Does it tell you what your money is for, or does it just tell you where it is?
And that brings us back to that question about the cruise. It's a really good test for your own plan.
All right. So here's the question we want to leave you with. If the market dropped 30% tomorrow, would your current plan let you keep your plans? Would you still go on that cruise, whatever that is for you,
Right.
or would you have to cancel?
If the answer is I'd have to cancel, or even, I don't know, it might be time to look beyond that old pie chart.
Absolutely. Now, before we sign off, I need to read an important disclosure from the team that provided these insights. Please listen closely. The views expressed here are those of Chris Abeda, Dustin West, and the Confidence Financial Partners team. They do not necessarily represent those of RFG Advisory's management, unless specifically stated by an RFG representative. This discussion should not be regarded as a specific or comprehensive description of advisory services provided by RFG Advisory. The views reflected and statements made in the commentary are subject to change at any time without notice. Some information here is provided, in part, by third-party sources. These sources are generally deemed to be reliable. However, neither Confidence Wealth Partners nor RFG Advisory guarantee the accuracy of third-party sources. That's it for this deep dive. Thanks for listening.